Welcome. This is Rama, and I'm here to share with you about the cosmic weather of the great turning of the wheel as we dip into the vernal equinox, the spring equinox here in the northern hemisphere, and the southern hemisphere will go into fall. So it is March 19th when I'm recording this video. And I just want to say, if you enjoy this content, please like, comment, share, make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. It helps grow this community and gets my videos more out there to others. And I just greatly appreciate your efforts in doing so because the more that you share, then you're spreading the good word and you're spreading the work that those of us who create these kind of videos, we take time to put them in here. And this is an offering I love to create for you all. So I like it when I know that people are able to receive it. So thank you for sharing. And here we are in these wild, beautiful, beautiful times. And I know that they're also challenging. And I just want to say too that I know that perhaps for many people they don't feel beautiful. And there are people who are really struggling right now. And there are people whose health is, either they're really sick or they're afraid that they're going to get sick. And all of that is valid and all of that is welcomed and all of that is honored here in this space. So I want to honor and acknowledge that. And I also just want to speak to this concept of fear too, and that it is deeply spiritual to feel your fear. And if you were ever told that it is not, I would perhaps find other sources, other places to lean on, because the sensation of fear is primal and it's also part of being in this human body. It is instinctual and it lets us know when we're not safe and when we need to go the other way. Now, the thing is we don't want to get stuck in a fear paradigm. And we live in a world where many of us are bombarded with concepts of fear, and we have to do a lot each day to rise above that fear. And here we are with this great turning of the wheel, spring equinox 2020, and our world is going through major transformation. There has been a great pause of activity all around the globe. Many of us are self-isolating, but it's really not so much that we're isolating, it's just that we're distancing ourselves from being in physical proximity to others. And we're doing this because we have this COVID virus spreading across the planet. And it's here as a great teacher on so many levels. And so, to have fear around this is deeply spiritual. It's what you do with the fear and how you move through it. And the most profound work we could be doing right now is that which will help us move through the fear and get to the other side. So I encourage you to be working with your daily practices, your spiritual practices, whatever they are. Everyone is going to have something they gravitate to more than others, and trust your gut, trust where you're being led. That is the way. Fortunately, because our technology is working right now, we have access to so many different teachers and teachings. So just trust your gut, trust your instincts. That's very important right now. And I want to speak to you about the astrology of the spring equinox of Ostara, this beautiful, blessed season. Ostara is when we turn the wheel of the year, and we're coming out of winter, we're coming out of the time of year where we're these delicate seeds deep in the earth and we're starting to emerge and we're coming forth. We've gone through the gate of Imbolc, which is where things are really waking up underground and roots are awakening, but now we're starting to sprout. And that's what spring is about. And it's about really an awakening that we see in the earth. And we are awakening on so many levels, and we always have been and we always will be, but this is definitely an unprecedented time. I have a child, and her father and I were explaining to her the other day how unique this is, because it's a time that none of us, and my mom was in the room, we were all like, none of us have ever been through anything like this. And there was a moment before we were having that conversation earlier that morning when I woke up, and I was like, I felt like a sadness for my daughter that this is something she's experiencing in her childhood, and that we are, we have not. But then I thought to myself, it's okay, because she's of this generation and they're resilient. They came in ready for these changes. My daughter was born, and 2 months later was Fukushima. So here we are. And our earth has been crying out for so long, my entire lifetime in this body. I'll be 40 this year. So my entire lifetime, I have witnessed the decay of the earth happen more and more rapidly. I have seen the earth disrespected, and I have not been okay with it. And I'm sure you're not okay with it either. And so if we can rise above and we take this viewpoint where we're not just in our own human perspective, but where we're really rising above. You imagine you're sailing on the wings of an eagle, and you can see with this eagle eye vision a greater sense of purpose of what's happening here. And it's a great earth awakening. And we've known that this new earth is coming to be birthed through us. And I used to be a birth and postpartum doula. I mean, it's like once a doula, always a doula. Let's be honest. It's like the same with a midwife. Like if you know how to, sit and hold space. And I just want to say, like, I know the word doula means slave in Greek, and I do prefer midwife because it is with woman. But my point is I have sat and I have witnessed many women give birth, and I've given birth myself. And everything in life mimics birth, it mimics death. Birth and death are so intertwined, and we see that through the asteroid goddess Ceres. Ceres is Demeter, and here we have spring, and spring is the awakening of the earth. Persephone, Proserpina, is coming back to life through us. The awakening of the earth is happening through us here and now. And so each one of us, we're in our own version of labor pains, and everyone's going to deal with it differently. And I know this to be true because I've seen over 20 women give birth, and they've all done it very differently. And what I can say is that how you do life is how you give birth. So that's a good metaphor. So we're all in our birthing caves, in our homes, quarantined, self-quarantined, trying to preemptively do this before maybe government mandates are happening. And as we're doing this, timelines are collapsing. And it's something I've been talking about with this astrology since 2018, 2019. Here we are in 2020. Saturn and Pluto. Saturn, the planet of limitations, Chronos, Lord of Time. Also an archetype I like to refer to as this council of great grandmothers, these wise elders that you go to and you speak to, They're there, they have the mastery, and they want you to move through life with mastery, with elegance. And that's what Saturn is teaching through constriction, through limitations. And then Pluto bringing this magnifying glass to really look and to really understand and to be in truth and authenticity, no matter what. No matter what has to be stripped away, no matter what the process takes for you to get there. If it means, forcing us into our homes in quarantine, Pluto will do that work. So these two planets have been on a journey through the sign of Capricorn. Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008. We had a lot of financial restructuring happening then. Saturn went into Capricorn in December of 2017. And now this week, it's March 19th, Saturn has been at the 29th degree of Capricorn, karmic completion. And so the limitations have gotten very accentuated. The moon went over all these points as well this week and just went into Aquarius early this morning, depending on where you live in the world. And Mars, the planet of will, of drive, of action, that rules the sign of Aries. And when we go into spring equinox, Aries, the sun moves into Aries, where it is exalted, where it loves to shine. So there's a lot for us to pay attention to with this Aries energy and this Capricorn energy. Aries is the I am consciousness. Who am I? What is my identity? How do I show up in the world? How do I connect with the world? And so on the spring equinox, which is exact tonight, March 19th, at 11:50 p.m. Eastern time zone in the United States, and so you can adjust for wherever you live in the world. The sun goes fully into Aries. It's coming out of this Pisces season, out of this collective consciousness that has had so much Neptunian energy to it. We have had this very long transit of Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and just on this Monday of this week, Mercury went back into Pisces, but we're still in the shadow of retrograde. Mercury is moving forward. So Mercury was coming out of Aquarius, but we're still in the shadow of the retrograde until we get into April. So that's 2 full months if you take both ends of the shadow of Mercury retrograde. And that really influenced this Pisces season that we're just completing right here and right now as I'm recording this video for you. We've had a lot of Neptunian influence. At one point, Sun and Neptune were conjunct. That was about a week and a half ago. And so there's just been a lot of where are the boundaries? A lot of confusion. What is yours? What is mine? And Neptune is ultimately all about the high heart, agape, deep spiritual love. It's very mystical when it's rooted and grounded in truth. But when there's not a sense of true clarity, of authenticity, Neptune can be very deceiving. It can keep people stupefied. It can keep people running from ayahuasca circle to the next, or from this brewery to that brewery, or, there's so many ways we can check out. Hey, you can check out with green juice. It doesn't matter what your substance of choice is. Neptune is, when we're not fully aligned in our Neptune, we can be very distorted. And there's been a lot of that influence happening since 2016. And Neptune in Pisces is going to be with us for a number more years. So that clarity is still something that we have to struggle with. And we've seen truths coming to light in different yogic communities. In the yogic community I'm a part of, Kundalini Yoga, seeing all of these truths come to light around Yogi Bhajan and his true character. And it's been very illuminating, especially to see the leadership, those who are leaders in the Kundalini community, those who are taking a stand and who are not, and who are ignoring it, and just so many layers. And this is our life right now. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of layers. And this transit with Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. And as we look at this equinox chart, we've got the South Node, we have Pallas Athene, we have Mars, we have Pluto, we have Saturn, all in Capricorn. It's a very strong lineup there. And Capricorn is all about foundations and what are we building? What are we growing together as a collective in our governments, in our institutions, in our corporations? What are the foundations? And wherever the foundations have been built on deceit, on stepping on other people's backs, on lies, they're getting dismantled. And we all have a choice in our own lives too, because it's happening on a personal level, it's happening in our families, it's happening in our local communities, and it's happening in our governments, in our global community as a whole. And so we have a choice. What do we believe in? What are we going to take a stand for? What are we okay with as human beings? Are we okay pouring ourselves out for money? Are we okay pouring the earth out in the name of $1 or £1 or €1? Are we okay with that? Are we okay with taking pure, clean drinking water from indigenous civilizations and bottling it up in plastic after chlorinating it and doing all sorts of other processes and then selling it back to them? Are we okay with that? So there have been so many of these topics that have been bubbling up to the surface as the earth has been going through all these changes: wildfires, typhoons, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, desertification. It's been happening before our very eyes, and it's just been business as usual until it's not. Until this coronavirus comes in and is so contagious, or at least this is what we're being told. It's highly contagious, and many people are getting sick, and it's the lungs that are crying out the most. The lungs, the space of the body that is all about grief, unprocessed grief. And we live in this world where many cultures and civilizations are not having healthy grieving practices. So what do we do about this? We've got to do our own inner work. Each one of us is a hologram for the collective at large. Here we are. We're like little cells of the entire human body. Each one of us is a little cell, and within us are over 30 trillion cells that you're made up of. And you get to decide what your cells are going to do to influence this whole collective cellular dance. And the personal is political like never before. How we choose to utilize this time of self-isolation is up to us. And if we're going to use this time and we're going to try and hustle it and wheel and deal and keep up the status quo, that's one option. Or we could, come up with some creative options. How are we going to show up for one another? How are we going to be a sisterhood, a brotherhood throughout Mother Earth? How are we going to show up for humanity across the earth? What can we do? What service, what skills do you have to offer to humanity at this time? And before you put yourself out there, offering your service, your skills, what inner work, what grieving work needs to be completed first? So we are here on the spring equinox. We have this opportunity to really look at this deep within ourselves, within our lineages. I'm sure, whatever you're experiencing right now is showing up as opportunities for growth. This is a time of reclamation, a time of slowing down. And, there's different ways we can look at the financial outcomes of this. So many of us, myself included, our steady incomes are just either have completely stopped or are just a slow trickle. And we could choose to freak out. We could choose to look at this as a global conspiracy to crash all the markets. It could also be something higher. It could be an opportunity for a great economic reset. We really don't know. There's so much we don't know, but what we do know is that we are in this together, that there are so many of us in similar situations, and we have to find ways to come together and to truly have each other's backs. And that's what this astrology is asking of us, because on Saturday, Saturn is going to go into Aquarius. Saturn is going into its other home sign, the sign of the water bearer, this air sign that is about creative genius, intelligence for humanity, that is drawing inspiration from futuristic concepts, from, we could even say, starseed nations, futuristic possibilities that we have never considered before. Saturn, the sign of limitations, is moving in to Aquarius on Saturday. This is going to be major, and we will experience Saturn in Aquarius until May 11th, and then Saturn will start to go retrograde in early July. I believe it's July 9th, but I'm not sure on the exact date off the top of my head. July, somewhere around there, Saturn will go back into Capricorn. So from July until December 17th of 2020, Saturn will be back in Capricorn. And then on December 17th, 2020 onward, Saturn will be in Aquarius until 2023. So from March 21st until early July, we get a preview of what's coming towards the end of 2020. And this is an opportunity to really get creative, to think about how do we want to move in this planet? Do we want to hustle? Do we want to wake up every day and go to a job and send our kids off to school and, just be struggling for time, be like hamsters on a wheel? And there are parts to all of that that are important and that are amazing. And I think we're also being asked, how can we restructure our global culture? How can we restructure so we can also be taking into account the health and the wealth of Mother Earth? And I want to share this quote with you that perhaps you've already come across. It's by Gina Mayer. Since the lockdown, Venice's canals have become crystal clear. Italy's coasts have dolphins coming nearer and nearer. Japan now has deer roaming free in the streets, and Thailand, the same with monkeys. China has record-breaking pollution cuts. The Earth has already begun showing signs of amazing things that are happening from the absence of human pollution. What if, and hear me out, what if the entire human population used this as an opportunity to restart society on a greener, more environmental conscious foot? What we're seeing in the span of a couple of days is amazing, a pipe dream. And it is amazing that in just a few days we could see, I've heard that the Venice canals, people have never been able to see to the bottom, and now they're clear. That is miraculous. That is miraculous. The Earth is so resilient. We are so resilient. We are so powerful. This is something I share so often in my yoga classes and in the different offerings. We are so powerful. The media is never going to tell you how powerful you are. If they do, if the advertisements tell you that, I mean, are you going to buy all the things that you buy? You're going to realize you don't need 2/3 of that stuff. And so this is a time, this astrology is the time for each one of us. We have such a ripe, potent opportunity. And I'm going to speak a little bit more to some of the specifics. So that strong lineup in Capricorn, which, I spoke about Saturn and Pluto, and they had their major conjunction on January 10th. And we've been living under the energetics of that conjunction since 2019 began. And we're still living under it now because they're close enough together that we feel the reverberation of that energetic imprint, because these are outer planets. So the planets that are further away have more of a magnetic pulse to us on Earth. And in addition to them being in Capricorn, Pallas Athene has been in Capricorn, and she's this goddess, Athena, of the mind. She's born out of Zeus's head. She's very cerebral. She is also a goddess of war, and where she is showing up is where there needs to be justice, where there needs to be high mind thinking and solutions. And so she's been traveling through Capricorn, helping to bring in some of these solutions to these areas of disillusionment, of dissolving, of activation. And Mars, when Mars entered Capricorn, which was in February, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn, Mars loves to be in this energy. Mars is now tracing over the points of Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn. And Jupiter entered Capricorn in December of 2019. And Jupiter expands and it grows things, and astrologers have different messages around Jupiter and Capricorn. It can expand things, but sometimes it can also expand the things we didn't want to be expanded. It can also expand sometimes the limitations. And so we are really witnessing now, right here and now, the things that need to be dissolved, the structures that need to be reworked, the patriarchal systems, the paradigms that aren't serving. The outdated systems where women have been suffering all across Mother Earth. And we know that. We know that the feminine, it's time for the feminine to rise. And it's also time, as much as it is for the divine feminine, for the divine masculine to rise. And we have, with Black Moon Lilith and Chiron in Aries conjunct, we have this element of where the feminine has been wounded and is in her shadow, and Chiron, the wounded healer, where the masculine has been wounded in Aries, where we've been wounded in the body, where we've been held back, and it's all on the table. Where are the wounds? And the true work is the inner work. Where is your wounded masculine? Where's your wounded feminine? Where are your daddy issues? Where are your mama issues? Like, this is the time to really go into that grief and to liberate the traumas that are ready to be liberated, to move through them, to use your practices, to use your tools, to use your studies, to use these different implements you've been gaining over the years, to put them to work, to bring this alchemy together as it's in Aries, as it's in the sign of identity of who am I, as we're having this rebirth, this identity crisis as humanity. It's up to each one of us how we do this work. Remember, we're a hologram for the collective. And as the sun goes into Aries with Black Moon Lilith and Chiron, they're squaring the nodes of fate. And so we've had the North Node in Cancer, all about security. What is our sense of security? How do we feel safe? What is our sense of home? Many people on the planet right now don't have homes. They've had to flee because of war, because of bombs, because of bloodshed. And are we okay with that? And are we okay with the reality that if we continue to treat the earth as we do, there's going to be more earth changes and more people will be uprooting their homes? And how do we bring our sense of security everywhere we go? And then that South Node in Capricorn asking us to really be willing to look at, where do we have this fear, this old fear that we carry around in our bones? Where's the fear, and can we get into it? Because beneath that fear is the medicine. We've got medicine in our bones. And I've really learned this in my work with Elder Malidoma Sameh, that to connect with the medicine in our bones, it's right here. It's all here. And it's available. And in the Dagara cosmology, we have moved into an Earth year. And so this is the year of coming home to ourselves, of creating that sense of belonging. And it can only happen when we do the work within. And when we do that work within, and then we build our local communities, we are building this new Earth together. We are birthing this new Earth from within. It's a powerful time. And the nodes of fate have been in Cancer and Capricorn since November of 2018, and they're coming to completion on June 5th. We're going to have our first full moon in Sagittarius. That's going to be an eclipse. So between now and then, the nodes of fate are going to be squaring Chiron in Aries and Black Moon Lilith for as long as she's conjunct. She moves a little bit faster, so she'll be moving ahead. But as long as they're squaring, that work around that wounding with the feminine, the masculine is really up on the table. So do that inner work, because there's a connection to that as well with this coronavirus. And we can also think of the word corona and its connection to crown, and how there's this concept of each one of us, only we can crown ourselves. Only we can acknowledge the divinity that is inherently ours. And the full crowning only truly happens when we come to that wholeness within, when we heal that feminine and that masculine, and they braid and they weave together from within, and we become this full, resilient, radiant person that truly loves themselves. So this is a time of great self-love and compassion. This is a time to really remember how you're a hologram for the collective, and to take yourself as your beloved, to honor yourself as your beloved, to have deep self-compassion, to put all your self-care tools to work, to feed yourself well, to drink good water, to make the remedies you know that have been passed down in your family or that you've learned through reading books or perhaps through social media. However, this wisdom has found its way back to you. Remember, you've got that wisdom in your bones too. And not only is this a time of deep compassion and deep self-care, this is a time of deep creativity. It is a time to tap into all those spaces and places that you've told yourself, I'll do that when I have the time for it. I'll do that when I have the time for it. It is the time to conjure up that creativity that is always there waiting for you. To just put down your phone, to just turn off your device, go outside, put your bare feet in the earth, listen to the birds singing, watch the earth being reborn before your eyes. Talk to Mother Earth. Tell her your name. Tell her your dreams. Tell her your fears. Tell her you need her and that you love her. Give her your tears. Give her your blood. Give her honey, fruit, whatever feels authentic and real for you. Let Mother Earth know how grateful you are to be here with her, to be her child. And when you get bored, play games, read books, do crossword puzzles, build sacred fires, learn a new craft, plant a garden. There's no time like the present. Do deep cleaning of your home, of your altar spaces. I love on the equinoxes, this is my sacred studio where I see clients as well. And on the equinox, I always give all my stones a bath and I wash all the surfaces down and wash the curtains and just do really deep cleaning and just really bring in love into the space. So bring that into your spaces. Give gratitude for what is working right now. Allow the rhythm of life to slow down, to take a pause as these timelines are collapsing and as we're figuring this all out together. Remember, you are not alone. You are not alone. We are in this together. So many of us are impacted in ways we never thought we would be in this lifetime. And so once you have that strong resiliency within, then you can come from a place of service. And you can check in on the people in your life, your neighbors, your community, donate some food, donate some money, whatever you're called to, you'll know where your service, your gifts are, your talents that want to come through. This virus is really a way to wake up all the ways we have been asleep at the wheel as a human collective, where we have put too much value on the things that are really not that important, and where we need to put more value on the things that really matter, like our relationships, and our love and our connection with the planet, and our love and our connection with our own selves and our dreams and our gifts and our talents. So prioritize deep sleep, get dressed every day, drink lots of water, eat good food, do your relaxation practices, your spiritual daily practices, talk to your ancestors, go outside on walks daily, get out in nature, give your offerings to the earth, count your blessings each night before you go to sleep. Give gratitude for all of your blessings. Give thanks each morning when you wake up, for it's a brand new day, full of pure possibility. Let go of the money fears, because we are all in this together. We are the pioneers of this new age. We are birthing this new earth together. And we are each one of us, we are right on time. You are right on time. So trust that. Trust that you have the skills you need to get through this, and the skills that you don't have yet, that you need, you will learn them. You will be initiated in all the perfect ways. Songs are being sung all over the earth. People are coming back to the power of their voice, the medicine that is within our bones. Webs are being woven, and we are feeling each other collectively more than ever before. So, as challenging, as absurd as all of this is, there's a blessing here. And I invite you to trust the process, as radical as it may be for you to do. So, use the spring equinox to vision your life, your dreams, your year ahead, to do your rituals. The Aries new moon is coming up next Tuesday as well. We have a Libra full moon coming in April. We are in the most potent of times. We are in one of the most challenging of years. And we are becoming more resilient and consciously aware than ever before. I wish you so much love and blessings and radiant vitality to you and your lineage. I have so many practices available, offerings that are complimentary. I also offer one-on-one private sessions and always have done them virtually. So I will continue to offer them virtually, as well as when we're able to meet in person. I do meet people in person. I offer spiritual mentorship as well, and global pilgrimages. So I'm here for support in any ways I may be of service to you. And I give you all of my love on this beautiful vernal equinox as we're birthing the new earth. Sat Nam.